Got to record it. There we go.
Okay, I'll do it just a quick replay and we can add the intro in the beginning. But the ground rules, like any sport you play, ground rules, please be fully present and let's pay attention. Respecting the floor, allowing others to engage. Don't yuck my yum. If what I love isn't what you love, please respect it. In the Vegas rule, what happens here stays here. Oftentimes in coaching and people begin to peel back the layers. They share things that maybe they weren't prepared to share and become vulnerable. And that's truly how we grow as women when we begin to take the layers off. Please make it a safe place to share. So in Vegas rule, what stays here, what's said here stays here, unless it's something that may help someone else. So if you have still given the example that I love drinking my Tai Chi, it takes me to the next level for my mindfulness, please do go out and share that. So we're on muted microphone for everyone. Please use the chat box feature. Now, I am the traditional trainer who came up face-to-face with people. I've been doing virtual for quite a while now, but I need feedback. So I will be asking for you to use the chat box feature. Anything that resonates with you or strikes you, please go ahead and type it in. If you have any questions, type it in. I'll ask Afi to take a look and see if there's any questions. You can raise your hand. No question is a bad question. I will let you know if I'm going to get to it, soon. But this is for you. I am in service to you this evening. I want to just set the stage. This title was post-pandemic. And how many of you have seen this before, something similar? We're saying that we're post-pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, what has happened is we had our shock, we went through that, is this really happening? And then we were like frustrated because, wow, is this really how it's gonna be? I didn't expect this. I don't want this in my life. For some reason, I'm not in control anymore. And then many people get right to the bottom. I'm depressed, I really can't function, I'm drained, my energy is gone. And then once you realize that this is really happening, and you begin to get into the flow of what the change has been, you begin to experiment. You begin to say, okay, well, maybe it's not. How many of us had to deal with actually going out like this? And, wow, what do we need lipstick for anymore? All of those things became things we need to now experiment with. Afi was giving an example where she's using a clear mask because it's like a blocker now, right? So we're having to make decisions of how we're going to engage in this new, and then the integration comes. So it's good to know that there are stages, and I call it grief because anytime you have a change, it's a death to what you were experiencing before. So we had to let go of 2019, and even with all of our 2020 clear vision, you remember all those things we were focusing on. We've come into a new reality. But here's the good news. Time and change and how we optimize it and use those makes the difference in the life that we have. Let me say that one more time. Time and change, they're always going to happen. How we use them makes a difference in whether we end up, 50 miles ahead or only 10 miles ahead. And I like to say, when I look at our life, we're born very full. God, before he made us, came up with a purpose. So we're full of possibilities. We're carrying quite a bit. And the goal is to figure out how to drop as much of it as we go and die empty. So there are a lot of people who spend their time in a way that they keep everything in, that they keep all those layers and they never explore. So they can go through this grief and die a million times because they never even stepped out to try to change and grow. So I just have 3 big ideas today. Very, very simply, 3 big ideas. The first one is, it's not what you look at, it's what you see. Second one is, you must know yourself in order to grow yourself. And then the last one simply is about miswanting, and making sure that you want the things that get, keep, and grow your mojo. Hopefully this has got you thinking a little bit. I love the little kids, right? Children are the future. So we got to think
Mm-hmm.
we've got a thinking, and we've got an ideometer. So these are the three big ideas. The first one is, it's not what you see, it's not what you look at, it's what you see. I asked some of you in the beginning, were you A or B? And with the different responses, it lets us know that we have different perspectives. It was the same speedometer, and it was at the same position of quarter of a tank, right? Some of us were saying, my tank, we'll be fine. And other ones were saying it's about empty. Was anybody wrong? No. Perception is a choice. So I want to ask you now, what do you see on the screen? I'm going to just invite you to look and maybe find any hidden objects that you might see, and just type them in. I want to know, how many hidden objects do you see? Just type it in. How many hidden objects do you see? Okay. Okay. Ferris wheel, a car on a hill, very good. So Effie is replying just to me, letting me know that there's, she sees 2 items, okay? What if I told you there were 15 hidden objects in the picture? And these are the hidden objects. In 2 minutes, just type down all that you see. All that you see. How many people see the thermos? See the trophy? Let's see how many you come up with. Okay. Hi, everyone. See the teddy bear? That's a little far away. Okay. Okay. So now that I've told you that there are 15 hidden objects, seems like some people are looking a little deeper now. You're looking very deep. How about this? What if I showed you that the 15 hidden items are right here? You see the lollipop, you see the trophy, you see the medal, it's all picked out. What if you started with the answer? Now it's said that the quality of the answers in our life really about the quality of the questions that we ask. If we are looking for just to keep up with the Joneses, we're going to get some superficial kind of Joneses answers, right? But if we start with what is my purpose, what is the reason I'm supposed to be here, what makes me unique, all of those things, if you start with a mindset of looking deeper and seeing deeper, then it's amazing what becomes clearer. I always give the example of the anticipation, let's say even of buying a new car, and I getting a green car, all of a sudden you see green cars everywhere. Now, isn't that the number of green cars increased? Tell me, what do you think happened? Why do you see the green cars everywhere? Yes, there's a. Why do you see the green cars everywhere? Has anybody ever experienced that? That when they are looking to buy something or they're looking to bring something into their life, they see those things everywhere. It's often said when a woman wants to have a baby, she starts seeing pregnant women everywhere. She starts seeing babies everywhere. It's because the brain has something called the reticular activating system. That when we begin to focus on something, that's what we begin to see. Yes, your attention has shifted. Your mind is focused on the green cars. So that's how our life works as well. That if I give the example of when it's raining outside, if we're focused on, oh my God, it means traffic and it's going to be a horrible day, then what you focus on is what grows. But if in fact you make a decision to say, okay, it's raining outside, wow, this is going to be a great day for my garden. And my garden is really going to grow. Me and my kids are going to stay inside and snuggle and have some nice one-on-one time. It's all about what you're looking for. And that's a big part of Mojo. Now, if you start with the questions and the answer that you're looking for in the beginning, guess what? It creates for you this whole goalpost because it's clarity. You're not confused by all the things going in front of you. You don't have an issue where you're spending all your time on social media and you're wondering where did the time go, because you have clarity in what you're looking for. It allows you to set priorities. You can then know that I have a project plan, the execution, I'm going to deliver, and you manage your time. I would say for me, my really good friend, I would say we lost a son, but it was her son that she gave birth to. His 27th birth anniversary was this Sunday. And this was a great young man. He died 5 years ago. And cancer was the thing that took him out, short period of his life, but a very long period of his life. We spent hours and hours talking about how this young man just poured into everyone's life. And I left that conversation realizing that there's some people who maybe it was their time to go early, but what it really brought out to us is people were sharing missed opportunities. They had said, no, I'm not going to come for your birthday, Femi. I'll see you at Thanksgiving. And he died in October. So when we look at time, which is the only currency that cannot be replaced, if you have clarity of purpose, you will spend it very cautiously and you'll be focused. So when you look at a situation, you're seeing the possibilities, you're seeing the value that will come for it in your life. So that when we talk about more joy, Mojo really is the fuel in your rocket. If your rocket is aiming based on these things that you want to accomplish in your life, because you have that clarity, you know what results you're meant to bring, then Mojo is really about that power pack at the bottom. Wouldn't it be a shame if you have all this possibility and all this capability and all this purpose seated in you, but you're lethargic, you don't have any energy? Can anybody relate to sometimes you just don't feel like getting out of the bed? Sometimes you're like, I can't wait till Friday. And even when Monday comes, you've used Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you still don't feel so rejuvenated. I want you to just real quick, write down for me, what are just give me three things that you do that fuels your tank. I would say that replenish you, rejuvenates you, gets you charged up. What are, just start typing, maybe one thing each person. What is it that you can do that helps to fill your tank so that you feel fueled up and energized to be able to go after the things that you want in life? So I ask this question quite a bit in my coaching engagements, and I'm noticing that it's taking a few minutes for people to actually type it down. Now, is that because so many of us as women, we are in the have to category? We get caught up in all the things that we have to do, that we don't actively have a consciousness of what excites us and energizes us and takes us to the next level. I want to try something different with you. So I thank you, but I'm noting that I actually see a trend often with women. Yes, laughter, meditation. I see that we do have some healthy habits on the call, and I'm happy to see that response. I want to just ask you, can you write down for me some of those things that you have to do, that you feel like you have to do right now? We are in this, we've gone through the phases of the grief, right? We're hopefully, well, everybody's at a different place and we all go through at different points, at different speeds. But we say it's post-pandemic. So I'm just asking you now, what are some of the things that you feel like you have to do? You can write them on your paper, some of your haves. And maybe what I'll do, some of the have-tos. You have to work, exercise, you have to cook. These are all have-tos. Okay, the network is bad, you're not hearing well. Okay, what can I do to improve? Grow my business. I have to grow my business. Thank you. Victoria, I would ask if you could go out and come back in and see if it improves. Is this a common problem or am I okay with everyone else? Okay, okay, okay. All right, I have to work. What else is it that you feel like you have to do? I have to cook that meal. I have to arrange for the groceries. I have to get the kids ready for school. I have to prepare a course for parents. I have to. So sometimes the have to feels very, very heavy. That is very difficult, right? To say where my energy is coming from because I'm so consumed by the things that I have to do. What I want you to do right now is all these haves. I want you to strike out have. And I want you to write down get to. I get to write proposals. I get to read for my exams. I get to prepare a course for Pioneer students. I get to work. You know, there's a gentleman who's in a wheelchair who was asked about, you know, isn't it difficult and hard being in the wheelchair? And he actually saw his wheelchair. He said, with my wheelchair, I get to be mobile. Without my wheelchair, I would be in the bed. So in the framing of things and what you see, just by removing the have, did you feel a shift? I now get to, because these are all opportunities. And oftentimes we take these opportunities for granted. But if you begin to look at the thing that you're working toward as something that you're getting to do, thank God I have the gifts to do it. Thank God I have the resources to do it. Thank God I am the one that they call to even give a proposal. Other people are struggling for this opportunity. So if we begin to shift in terms of that I get to do these things, they feel more like gifts than like burdens. So one way, and this is something to write down, one way to immediately improve your mojo is to take those haves and make them become get tos. Shift and see them as opportunities, because it's not what you look at, it's what you see. And then when you have your rocket, your rocket is pointed based on your purpose, based on your meaning. And that requires a little work. Some of the things that Affy didn't tell you is I'll share that in a little bit. But the purpose of your life is to discover your gift, and the meaning of your life is then give it away. I talked about dying in. So when we talk about what is mojo, I have 5 axioms, and I've used my own life. I'm one of those people that early on in my life, I experienced loss. I lost my mother when I was very young. My mother was 41 when she died, and now my dad is 91. Can you imagine? But loss early in my life helped me to really shape the way I engage life. I value people more. I value experiences more. You come to my house, it's like a museum and photos. And I know that I boiled it down into this mojo principles of 5 real that make up these life forces. And one of them is soul. That's taking care of yourself, your awareness, your spiritual intelligence, being grounded, your self-esteem. And you know, this is about the soulfulness. So many of us have had linear lives. We end up in positions or jobs or even owning companies, but somehow you feel out of alignment when it's not truly who you are. And Mojo takes you through soul exercises to find yourself and build that alignment. With mind, mind is about not just mindfulness, but understanding how the brain works. And let's say, for example, unconsciousness. Let me ask you a quick question without looking. You see, I'm crossing my thumbs. When I cross my thumbs, which one of your thumb is on top, your left or your right? Don't look, your left or your right. I have an even bigger one. Okay, I'm gonna count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How many times did your heart beat in that countdown? It is so important to recognize that our unconscious mind, that's where the knowledge sits on whether you're left or right on your thumb, and those systems of your heart beating, it's important to realize that the unconscious mind is unlimited in capacity. It hears everything and it remembers everything. If we can move, so in our conscious mind, we have to actively look at the word and actively think. So there's a limit of about 11 bits per second, 1100 bits per second that we can actually take in as humans in our conscious mind. But when we're able to shift more things that we do in our life into being unconscious, that means making them habits, making them practices. And what I mean by that is, can you imagine that every time you get up in the morning and you had to think, what's the first thing I do? What's the next thing I do? That is all conscious. If you can put into your unconsciousness, probably it's already, you get up and make coffee, you get up and exercise, you get up, all those things that you can put into your unconscious makes them habits. And guess what? That relieves the mental load on your conscious mind so you can then focus on the things that require creativity. So one of the things that we want to do is bring more from our unconscious into our conscious awareness, and then be able to move more of our habits and things that take us closer to our goals into our unconscious. We'll do an example later on that if that's not clear. The next one is about body. Body has nutrition, it has sleep, it has, your mother probably always told you this, get enough sleep, get enough exercise. I didn't believe this early in my life because I really thought I was gonna die at a young age. So I was like, we gotta live, I'll sleep when I die. But now, when you know better, you do better. And for me, getting your 7 or 8 hours makes a difference in all areas of your life. It's like the recharge time for your brain. You ever wake up, you look at your phone and your phone says 100% charged. You look in your soul and your spirit and your body and you're like, I'm only about 5 or 10%. I need some more sleep. I need some more something. Has anybody ever experienced that?
Mm-hmm.
When I looked at my phone and I saw the 100% and I was jealous, I knew that I needed to reset something in my life. I knew that something was out of bounds, that I had been lying down asleep, but I wasn't rested. So we have exercises and tools and processes that get your body optimizing mojo. Connection. Now, connection, I'm the connector in chief, because what I do is I connect people to possibilities, relationships, communication, and it's a gifting of mine that I don't even think about. It's very unconscious for me. But what we're learning, and especially during this pandemic, is people who had those type of emotional connections, people with mates live longer, okay? If you don't have a mate, you need to have that you have touch and connection that's authentic, that people care about you. And the last one is intention. So, with purpose, that intention basically is saying, what are the results that you bring out? So in Mojo, we help you to find your strengths so that you can link it to the thing you want to do. And when you're playing to your strengths, you're able to get in a space of flow that it doesn't feel like work. How many of you have seen that goal post where Denzel Washington talks about his audition where it was for an acting role, but it required him to sing? And everybody knows who Denzel Washington is. He's had more Oscar nominations than anybody in the world, any Black person in the world, and is seen as a great actor. Can you imagine if he would have stepped away when he didn't get that job where he needed to sing? And he kept on trying. But the lesson in that for all of us, so many of us step into an opportunity and work it from a place of weakness. So in Mojo, we help you to really work through finding your strengths so that when you're working toward a result, it's from a place of strength. I'll give you one of my life examples when we get to that point. So what you at is not as important as what you see. When you start with clarity of what you're trying to bring out into your life and your purpose and meaning, the thing you're supposed to bring out, then it's very easy to see those possibilities. It's very easy to not be in a have to mode, but in a get to mode, because you see it as a opportunity. And give me any thumbs up if this is something that anybody needs tonight. Did anybody need to see that I needed to just reframe how I'm looking at things so that I can get my energy level higher? Anybody, you know, just give me some feedback. I told you I needed feedback. My husband has a joke that says women need what? Compliments and occasional pair of shoes. So I need just some feedback to let me know if I'm connecting with you. Now, this next one is you must know yourself to grow yourself. What do you see in this picture? Just type in there, what do you see? Yes, get to makes it sound so much better. I love reading comments. Thank you, thank you. Yes, yes, I love that resonates. All right. Any ideas? Any thoughts? What do you see? So this is Patrenia with a snake around her neck, right? That's the fact. Some people have made a comment of, what in the world are you doing holding the snake? Did it have teeth? Yes, it did have teeth. Yes, it did. So when I talk about my story, probably the thing that I really want to get you all to look at is not me holding the snake, but that gentleman over to the left looking at me. He's looking at me like, what in the world and what are you doing? So my story simply is this. In 2003, my husband and I moved our family of 5 to Nigeria. And it was like we were going the street. We were the only car and everybody else was going the other direction and leaving. So often in life, people are gonna look at you funny. They're not gonna quite get what you're doing and why you're doing it. But it's important that you know your story, you know why. For us, make sure our children weren't strangers in their father's land. For me, I had a spiritual experience that was a Jabez, go and expand your territory. So I left America and moved. I went from conflict to discomfort because I needed to reposition. What is your story? Can you articulate some of the whys behind why you do the things that you do? What's truly motivating you? Because if you can't find power in your own story, it'll be very difficult for you to be able to move your business to the next level. When we're passing a message in our businesses, we need to be able for people to personify and connect with us and have a reason. What's behind what you're doing? So for me, I get the snake by the neck and I'm going after it. Even if you don't understand, it's okay. It's not your destiny, it's mine. So I want you to feel, I see a younger version of, yes, a lot of people ask us questions, but guess what? 17 years later, I have a lot of people saying, wow, your children turned out great. We have 5 kids, right? And they're saying they're global citizens, they're doing this, they're doing that. Well, it's because we dared to reposition. We dared to be the ones that people were looking at funny. People are not gonna always get you. So don't let that external thing be your driver. Always be able to look inside and know your story. Because you have to have a plan for your own growth, because growth is not natural. When we look at the linear things in life, like I said, you know, you go to school, you get a degree, you get married, get a job, maybe have a baby, maybe not. But now what? So many people are in the now what's in their lives and they're just kind of coasting at a latent potential. They didn't figure out how to break through. So you need to have a plan for your growth. Mojo is about having that energy and knowing that, you know, being humble. I was in a program this week, Fela Durtoye. And one of the things that, you know, people were like, wow, you worked for 30 years, you work in all these multinational companies, why are you here? I said, you must have a learner mindset. You must have a certain humility and conscious incompetence. Some people are walking around thinking they know everything based on all the things that they did. Yes, I have plenty of experiences in the past, and there's so much hindsight, but I am humbled to know that I can learn from anyone. So positioning yourself to be able to take on so that you can have increased capacity in different seasons is truly a big part of knowing yourself so you do grow yourself. Yes, it was a real snake. We were just on holiday in Cotonou, you know, where they have the House of Snakes. I'm one of those people that most of my holidays have a little daring in them because I have to remind myself that I can do new things. I have to remind myself that even though I've been through so many experiences, I can always dare something new. Snakes may not be your thing. For me, it was also raising orchids. Everybody said orchids are so hard to do, but I put myself into it because when you get in your 50s, some people have put you out the pasture, and I'm here to tell you that there is so much juice left in this grape. I want to keep on squeezing, and it's through challenge. So that's what I'm getting ready to tell you. Want the things that get, keep, and grow your mojo. There is a theory that says, if I just get rich, that's my key to happiness. There are a lot of people who just think if they get the money, they'll be fine. So many people think that, and this is just a statistic, 2015. It's saying that US lottery spending $70 billion. Can you beat that? $70 billion. This is more than what was spent on books, music. You can read all of that combined. But guess what? So many of the lottery winners, we know the story. They get the money, but their mindset didn't grow with it. So they really end up shrinking back because they got the money, but their capacity wasn't there to take care of it. All right, Miss Mary, go for it. Can you unmute Mary? She wants to say something.
I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. I did that in error. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem, no problem, no problem. So many people have a starvation mentality that they you know, it's called miswanting. And this is a concept. So like so many of us, we spent time educating and growing and moving in areas of our interest. And one of the things that I spent my time doing during the pandemic was understanding how all these things I've been coaching people about, what was the science behind it? And the science on well-being, you know, if you listen to the Happiness Lab, that's a wonderful space to just kind of download so much information. But I did the Yale University course, and guess what? A lot of people think that their happiness is capped. They believe that I don't come from a family, we don't get, you know, there's only a certain level of abundance and happiness and well-being that we get to. So part of that is true. 50% of your well-being is driven by the family that you come from. The next one then is circumstances. So many people believe that, woe is me, and oh, think about the guy in the wheelchair, right? But circumstances only drive 10% of your well-being. Here's the news. 40% of your well-being is driven by your own thoughts and action. What's going on? I hear something in the background. Can you all still hear me?
Yes, we can. I can.
Still hear
Yes.
me? Okay. Maybe we can mute everyone again. If you make sure everyone's unmuted. So did you hear what I just said? 40%
Yeah.
of your joy, well-being, whatever you want to call it, is driven by your own thoughts and actions. So that means that in that space, we have some opportunity. So in our body, mind, and spirit, live the mojo, more joy. So resilience and mindfulness. Let me just take you through. These are quick habits of happiness. Happiness, in my opinion, is situational. Joy is to the bone. Joy is regardless of circumstance, but to use the literature, habits of happiness is what this is from. So mindfulness. First thing I want to take you through with mindfulness is that it is about being present in the moment. What I'm going to ask you to do is just count from 100 and subtract 17 each time. So that's 100 minus 7. Just focus on what those numbers are. 100 minus 17. 3. Okay, you've gotten down to just about 0. What were you thinking about as you were counting down by 17? So it's, you take 100 and you subtract 17 and you get to 83, and you subtract 17 and you get to 66, and you subtract 17 and you go all the way down. When you're doing that exercise, it's a forced way to put you into mindfulness. Because while you're trying to subtract an odd number like that, you can focus on that thing that you're doing, or you won't be successful. That's what mindfulness is all about. It's the art of filtering out the distractions and choosing to be very present where you are. As simplistic as it is still not the easiest thing, therefore it requires practice. So what mindfulness allows you to do, I love it. You know, when you go from your main meal to your dessert and you want to, you know, cleanse your palate, mindfulness is just that way, to take a pause between things. How many of us are having back-to-back meetings? By the time you get to the third meeting, you forget what was happening in the first meeting. Mindfulness will allow you to proactively make your meetings end at least 5 minutes before the next hour. And you have a moment where you just kind of sit in it and marinate in it and savor it and realize, okay, what really happened? What was important? It allows you to reflect. You know, experience isn't the best teacher. Evaluated experience is the best teacher. So when you're able to really be present in the moment of what just happened and draw goodness out of it, that's where you get higher levels of happiness, because you just don't go through life. Gratitude is another big one. You know, in the spiritual world, if we are giving gratitude for what we already have, then God will make a provision to give us even more. If we're in a space of always, you know, complaining about what we don't have, then that just kind of brings more of what we don't have. So a practice for gratitude is to kind of go to bed with 3 things that you're grateful for, and when you get up in the morning, think about 3 things that you're grateful for. It's a lotus exercise that I teach my clients. You know, it's like a closed flower. You know, a lotus opens, and with each thing that you're thankful for, you're opening the flower. And then at the end, you have an open flower, because you are now open to the possibilities. You're open to the good things happening in your life. So gratitude is the second habit of happiness. The third one is savoring. You know how we talk about savoring food? Savoring is really, yes, it's about completely experiencing something, but it's about stepping out of the situation and observing in what's happening. And savoring, so when my grandbaby crawled for the first time, I happened to be there because I was stuck in America during the COVID lockdown. I just happened to be there. The normal Patrenia would have been first there with the camera, jumping in, trying to get whatever. But I decided, because I was going through a brain rewirement exercise, I was going through a rewirement program that got me to practice all the things on the screen. And what it made me do was step out of the situation and observe everyone else in their joyful moment. And all of a sudden, I just experienced a very heightened level of joy, seeing this for the first time. The happiness on my husband's face, the happiness on my daughter's face, the happiness on my son-in-law's face, and what the baby was doing, because he was even shocked that he could do it. So savoring as a practice helps to grow your happiness, because you're now sensitive. Can anybody relate to savoring? Have you ever tried that before? Kind of raise your hand if you've gone through the savoring. Meditation, you know, meditation is awesome because it again focuses you on the breath. There are a whole lot of chants and different things you can do on meditation. Give me a thumbs up if you experience meditation. How many people use meditation? Okay, so there are so many productivity hacks out there and so many gurus that are saying meditation is like life to them. I'm not so deep in meditation. I find, you know, it's with mindfulness, when I'm doing the chanting and the alms, I do have to draw myself back. Here's something that I invite you to do. When you're sitting in these quiet spaces, think of your mind as the sky and your thoughts as clouds. A cloud will come, and it's just like a negative thought. Just because a negative thought comes doesn't mean we have to think it. We can it and let the cloud just flow. That is the same way with our thoughts when we're in a meditative or even a mindfulness mode. Let the thought come. It'll come back around. And you can pull it down when you're ready to deal with it and process it. Yes, I find it to do meditations as well. I can relate to that, Atanuke. And for me, I would say early in my life when I was striving at Harley and doing my 30s and having 3 babies and, you know, doing school, doing work, blah, blah, blah. There was an older man at work that said, Patrenia, be still and know God, be still. And I remember arguing him. I said, boy, it's time to be still. I got things to do. So sometimes we get so busy in action and activity. It's almost like being on the football field and running around. So much action. It requires focus to hit the goal. So knowing how to harness and practice that quietness and seeing the value in it is something that I now, you know, my hindsight, I wish I would have learned earlier. And part of the reason that I put Mojo together is so that I can take a lot of my hindsight and download it so others can have it as foresight and they'll then have insight in how they live their lives. That's truly the mission. So last but not least, on the right side, I've asked you to write down what gives you energy. I now want you to write down 3 things in your journal, in your notes. What are 3 things that deplete your energy? It could come in the form of people. They could come in the form of an activity. They could come in the form of an energy. They could come in the form of a place. Can we unmute? Can anybody share just one thing that depletes them? You're depleted. Endless meetings deplete you after 1 hour workout. So Afi, I would challenge you that depletion precedes a refresh because you've got to break down your muscles in order for them to build back up. So you eventually feel re-energized and it has a longer term payoff, but in the moment, it might deplete you, okay? So I want you to come up with something that when it depletes you, it leaves such a nasty taste in your mouth and you're like, yuck. Think about some toxic people. One of my clients is sharing with me that her in-laws, oh my God, when they come in the space, it's just so yucky, yucky, yuck. It's all kinds of yucks. Arguments deplete you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You eliminate, find a way to eliminate at least one thing that depletes you. Actively realize this thing depletes me. Let me proactively either avoid it, make sure it doesn't happen, or here's what I love. Come up with the minimal viable activity that you need to have just to stay in that space. And don't give it too much energy. If you can't avoid that thing, thank you, budget cuts. If you can't avoid the budget cut, then one of the things you want to do is not put so much energy into it, right? The way to not put so much energy into it is to make sure that for each of the budget cut you're writing, here's what the regret is. It's not going to get done if we're cutting the budget. And it's almost like a release, because a lot of times I know, and I just picked this because we had a lot of budget cuts, so I get that. But those things that even sending someone else to the meeting to handle it is another way to buffer yourself. Come up with strategies that allow you to keep your cup as full as possible. So one of the things on the Mojo side is it's like so many people are drawing from. If you don't replenish yourself, then you're going to end up empty. You're not going to have any for yourself. The next thing is journaling. The journaling is like writing your story, getting your thoughts down. I love this as a hack because it works very well. Have you ever woken up and just had so many things on your mind? You're like, or it woke you up. It was so many things you were saying, I got to get this done tomorrow. And wait a minute, we got to pay this bill. And oh, wait a minute. Oh, shoot, I didn't check that. Oh, Did I lead a light? You know, all those things that you ask yourself. One of the very cleansing ways is to drop that list right on a piece of paper. Drop it on a piece of paper. Right as soon as you wake up in the morning, and just unload yourself. It's a wonderful way to start being from a place of neutrality, okay? Self-care, we just did a mindfulness session on self-care where we talked about massage. So when you looked at that tank in the beginning, when you looked at that fuel tank, it's important that some people will tell themselves, even though they're running on empty, they'll say, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, because they're not in touch with the fact that they really, really need some replenishment. I invite you today, my sisters, to take the time to, in that mindfulness, you're gonna feel, you're gonna body scan, you're gonna say, whoa, this hurts, you know, you become in touch with the fact that my tank is almost empty. It's time for me to refill it. I know the things that replenish me. Let me get them on my calendar and keep the promise to myself to bring them into my life. That's how you build your mojo, ladies. Self-care is so key, and that connection. One of the things that my personality type, since I'm a connector, I'm working on atomic habits, for example, something I want to get deeper in. So I created a book club. I've got friends, we're on 3 or 4 different continents, and we come together and we do this book club thing. And it's like, I said, you guys should not wait till my funeral to meet each other, or a wedding to meet each other. You need to be connecting now. And that's, you know, just come up with ways to make sure that you're getting the connection that'll fuel your soul and fuel your mojo. All right, so I've given you 8 habits of happiness that will fuel your mojo. Now, are there any questions? What questions do you have? Have I fulfilled my brief? I always like to ask, have I helped you to come up with ways to get your mojo back? Well, how many feel like they ever had their mojo? Did you ever have mojo? Victoria, I love this photo. Let me look at these pictures. These beautiful women. After you have some beautiful women in this group. I'm loving these photos. How many people had their mojo in the beginning to even lose? How many people feel like that they have lost some energy in this time frame, in this whole pandemic? You know, give me a thumbs up if you feel like you have lost some energy and you need to get something back. Was there anything in our talk today that you think you'll go try? So think something that you're curious about experimenting to take yourself to the next level? I don't know if you're not hearing me, or if I told you I needed feedback, so I'm not asking for much. I'm just looking for you to give me some. Does anybody need their mojo back? Maybe you don't need your mojo back. Maybe this isn't a need for you. I applaud you if your mojo is at the highest level. So that means that you all can be mojo ambassadors and bring even more people along. What I'm gonna do though here is just let you know coming attractions for the PatreniaSpeaks brand. We're really focusing on Mojo 360 and cultivating more joy. This is in all directions of your life. A 6-month community, a subscription that's starting, is kicking off. I need to update this. It's kicking off in October, and we would really want to invite you or anyone that you know that's already achieving. They're already killing it. They're already out there saying, man, I'm on it. But they know that what got them there, what got them here, won't get them there. That they know the sense of community and connecting from a positive peer pressure perspective, being with other gladiators that are going from success to greatness and going from success to significance, affecting others, that learning with master classes and group coaching, that's really cool and what they want to do. We have it at a rock bottom price. And it's like, what I've learned on my journey is that there's some things that I need to be able to give at the lower end, the lower price point, to get people in so that I can get more people growing their lives and growing their mojos and serving in purpose. You know, my purpose in coming to Nigeria, Jabez moment, you know, not everybody can do that. So I do want to share that with other people. So at the end of the day, Mojo 360, you can go to www.mymojo360.com. Please follow us at PatreniaSpeaks on Instagram and find out more. I hope I didn't bore everyone. I'm not feeling any energy in the room. Let me know. How did we do? Did you get anything?
Take a look at the chat room. Go into the chat room.
Oh, okay. You know, I changed my, oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. We moved. Okay, okay. Glad you kept trying. Yes. Holds us accountable at journaling. I love it. Journaling is like magic, guys. And guess what? Once you write all this stuff down, once you get retired like me, it becomes your memoirs, and you can write a book and make more money, right? Money, wealth, because what? You're sharing all this knowledge and wisdom. I was sharing with someone, I said, this is how wisdom is built. She was going through a rocky relationship, and what I said to her very clearly is, what are you meant to learn right now? What are you meant to learn right now? Take that hindsight and deposit it for your next relationship as foresight. And that's how wisdom is built. So generationally, we need to be passing it down to our young women, to our young ladies, so that they don't have to make the same mistakes we made. Let them make their own mistakes. But let's be accelerators. You know, we talk about business accelerators, right? I love the energy on this platform, ladies. All the lead. So what sport is it that you're playing? I love that you call yourself a lead. Do you have a sports metaphor? Are you playing football, or what are you playing?
We're playing football with our businesses. We're playing hockey with our businesses. We're playing basketball with our businesses. We're just,
Okay.
empowering each other to do better and do more with our businesses. We share, we learn, we work together. So it's a great opportunity for women to come together.
Does anybody have a win that they can share this week? Anybody have a win that they?
I shared one recently.
Okay, go ahead. Wins.
Yeah,
share.
So I pivoted my business during COVID, that when my energy levels just went down, lost my job, and then I decided to try a different type of dried fruit using mangoes and granola. Anyway, did this for 2 months, and just last week I won a grant for Minority Challenge, and then I did my products to some food banks, and then just 2 days ago I got an email saying they love these new products that I just tried my hands on during COVID, and they want me to pitch this product, I think by next week, which will give a great opportunity, visibility, and all of that. So that for me is the biggest win. But I did lose my mojo at some point during COVID. But
exactly.
I think it's, with pivoting and, saying instead of I have, it's come back.
Get to. Yes, I get to. Because there are so many muscles that you wouldn't have worked if you didn't have to. So you got an opportunity to stretch your mind. You got an opportunity to look at things with a different perspective. You got an opportunity to say, I'm going to find those 15 hidden things because those are jewels and nuggets meant for my business. What I am really, really interested in is hearing, how will you apply Mojo in the life that you have and going to that next level? So when you have written that proposal, right, and it's aimed right at where you want to position your business, what are you going to do to make sure that maybe you have that energy to look at it one more time, add that one more example, or practice your pitch one more time? That's what Mojo is all about, guys. Being able to keep yourself full and overflowing so that you can give in all the directions of your life that you need to. I'm so excited. I look forward to hearing from you, ladies. Please follow at what is it? PatreniaSpeaks. And I want you to tell a friend or two, especially about Mojo 360. We take people by the hand. We help you discover your strengths. We help you identify what is that thing you're meant to be working on. We match it together for you in an action plan so that you can be in flow. When you're in flow, you don't even notice that you're working. It doesn't feel like work because it's energy. When I was an engineer, one of the things that I did, I needed to solve it as an engineering problem. But what I did was I used my love of learning and I trained the hourly employees how to solve their own problems. I played in my area of strength and it made me a superstar in my job. Stop swinging with your left hand when your right hand is your dominant. If you know people who just need a little push, send them our way. All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to move on. I think, thank you, Afi, for the opportunity. And I just pray you guys continue to be limitless without limit.
Thank you so much, Patrinia, for doing this with us today. The ladies are excited. Thank you, ladies, for joining. Do appreciate it. Please follow her if you want to reach out to her. And thank you all for joining. Have a great weekend, guys. Have a good night. Thank you.
All right. I am Superwoman. Yes. Yes, I am. Okay. Okay, Oscar, can I help you? Oscar, okay.